Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, I should have turned off the heater, but I'm jacked into my chair now, so I'm mic'd up and we're not getting out and doing that. So, computer time. So let's go here. So, the thing that I'm doing today is I have the Swiss Army knife, and it is a breadboard slash prototype slash laboratory slash sort of general idea for stuff. It's like a glorified static website generator, but my sort of plan with it is to turn it into like a meta CMS almost. It's sort of time to take it to the next level, and I have a design that I sort of intend to roll out with this thing as the parts and pieces of it. And so anyway, it's like right now it's like super crude. Basically, these two files were over here. This guy and this guy. And these to put together are just like, one is like a util file that is just thousands of lines of code, and one is just like the main like root library file, which is also just thousands of lines of code. And a lot of that code needs to be like cut out, and it's also like really tightly, well, not cut out, but cut out and moved into different modules. And it is also like, it just sort of mixes together a lot of stuff in a really kind of naive way that reflects like just how much, like how organically this thing grew. And so I'm going to sort of like write out the architecture, which is what I was doing in the README here. So, like, what this thing does, what this thing sort of, what it is right now versus what I want it to be, and I've called this branch going all the way, referring to come on, little bastard, referring to this sort of design that I'd come up with. This, I don't know, this is like years in the making. I came up with this eons ago. And the design, this is sort of a flow, or it's like a sort of structure diagram where you kind of got all these parts, and the parts are the parts are, you know, you've got like the storage and the content and so on, and so but you've got these kind of transforms in here. And so the idea is that a lot of the content can be like just turned into these sort of pure functions. And oops, why do you say that? Anyway, so I came up with a ontology data vocabulary for expressing transformations. Oh, I have to fix I have to fix this spec. I converted all the specs to like, or I moved them all to this thingamajig, this other extranet, so I haven't gone through them and like normalized the markup on the actual specs themselves. That'll be something that I do eventually. But so transform vocabulary, you got just sort of the general idea of a transform. And the idea of a transform is it takes a representation. And a representation is a term from the REST paper, the REST, Roy Fielding's REST dissertation. Representation is a representation. So on the web, and like you don't really see systems implement this very often, but on the web, the sort of basic unit is the resource. And a resource is not a page. In fact, a resource is not a file. A resource is not even the output of a program per se. A resource is a sort of an abstract entity. It is a mapping between a set of identifiers, that is to say URLs, and a set of representations, that is to say strings of bytes. And then the representation is going to have like a content type. It's going to have like a finite length. I've seen some bastard things done with HTML where they just, or not HTML, HTTP, where you open the connection and it just spits out an infinite quantity of content until you close the connection. So I've seen sort of bastardizations of HTTP, but HTTP is actually like everything that comes through an HTTP response like should be finite, like it should end at some point. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, the thing that like the Swiss Army knife right now, where are we here? So this is the main one. So it's just got like CRUD. It's got like a thing that does a thing that reads the configuration, a thing that I should have gotten the other. That's not a big deal. I was going to say I should have gotten the other camera. Then I could have doodled it while I was doing it by hand. But smacks of effort. So where am I here? Anyway, so the this refactor. Well, I have the two things here. So like, where are we here? So just as a for instance, like we've got a bunch of accessors that I went and I put in made a mix in for the graph thing, so they're not even necessary anymore. I have these things that augment the HTML. So like this puts in the links to the head, and then there's the head meta underneath it. And then you got the generate the backlinks, and then you got like generate the Twitter metadata, and so on and so forth. And so the general idea is that these things can all be pure functions, basically. Like they can take a document, a piece of representation, and in this particular thing, it's a markup transform, and you can see I had the transformation ontology as a class, a markup transform class that specifically manipulates markup, and by markup I mean HTML, XML, anything in XML, and any web page in HTML, and it'll do something to the markup, and so it takes markup to markup. So there's that. So the idea is, when it pertains to this, where do we go back to the code? Let's go back to this code. So what happens, actually, oops. Let's go to this here. I can go to one of these. So this is kind of like a, right now with this thing, I run it in a REPL. Actually, I'm going to find, here we go. So if I say, actually, I can do it from here. If I say pry-i lib, acquire rdf sec, like this is what I do with it all day long. This takes a while because it's loading over NFS. I get my thinking juice here. It's my spicy grape juice. Ooh, there go the keys. My desk is real messy. I'm going to do this. That's fine. There we go. Back to normal. Okay, so we got RDF and we go. What do I want to say? I want to say like CTX equals RDF sac context config. Oh, we got new. And then I'll say sample.conf, I think. And this is going to load the Susaramine for like my personal website. It takes a while because it's got to like resolve a bunch of stuff. Anytime. I probably should have done this ahead of time, but I wasn't really thinking I was going to execute anything yet. But Jesus, why are you so slow? Oh, there we go. Okay, and then we can say ctx.visit, and this is like, this is what I want to change. Right to target. Let's look at the config. Oh, look, promotion for your channel. How about... God damn it. Bye. Okay. Where was I? Deal with the spam. Okay. Actually, this is not right. Neither is this. Okay. Let's try that again. There must be a namespace mistake in there. I know what the problem is. Weird. Oh well, I've been moving things around, so it probably doesn't. It's surprise me too much that that's messed up, but strange. Okay, anyway. No, I'm going back here. So, that's very strange. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to mention this on Mastodon. Herpader. Okay. So what do I want to do? I'm going to just start typing up bullets, and then I'm going to move the bullets into this tool that I have. Anyway, so this is not very interesting. This takes the config and okay. So, what do I want? I want to say notion of source and sink. Sink. We won't call it origin. No. Won't call it origin because that has special meaning. Origin, sink, a source can be an origin, but not necessarily. So you can see on the left I've got source and I've got target. On the left, on the right, what am I saying? So you got source and target, and these are just folders. And the other thing is that the source is actually under version control. It's actually Mercurial. Been meaning to change it to Git, but that's going to entail a whole bunch of things. Turns out Mercurial and Git aren't exactly feature identical. In particular, what's it called? HG has a, it tracks renames, while Git does not. Git has a heuristic for renames, but it is not like, whereas Mercurial actually puts renames like in the repository data. And so I have to decide whether or not I want to like blow that information away if I want to move it from from Mercurial to Git. The advantage of moving it from Mercurial to Git is that Mercurial is like so tightly coupled to Python. And so you can't really, and furthermore, like it has a library interface, but like they say don't use it. Because it's also undocumented, and which is, anyway, Mercurial was great in 2007, but Git way overtook it. Okay, so I've got this sort of idea where, in the case of gets, we're just talking about gets at this point. And I have an idea for the rest of it. I mean, basically the difference between, it's like a get, like all requests can be sort of like smushed into get and post, more or less. with the exception of like head. I mean, there's like trace and options and stuff like that, but like there's like head is just get, but like they throw away the body. You can also have like put and post. Sorry, put can be smushed to post, and like delete can be smushed to post, and like everything, like basically everything that isn't get can be smushed to post. And the way that you do it is you manipulate like what you're posting to. But I won't get into that because that's actually kind of a digression. I'm just gonna do that. That does not work the way that you think. You do that? No. Okay. This? No. This? No. Do we? Nope. Nope. Huh. Whatever. Spend too much time fiddle fucking around with that. Source can be an origin, but not necessarily. Yes. Okay. So, a source can be anything, really. Like, a source just has to take a URI and header set and return a representation and accept. Yeah. Representation. Okay. Now, a sync, actually a bad word. Because a sync will be actually request resources. And the reason for that is because of the existing source target. So like the idea is to abstract this stuff. So abstract it rather. Get my little thinking juice here. Interesting. Okay. And so we implement the existing source file system as a source. Implement the existing file system target. We change right to target. No, that doesn't fucking work. What is that? Oh, well, that's going to be good. Change right to target. To be something that the sync pulls rather than pushes. So far, so good. Now what if I say like the reverse proxy situation is exactly the situation that you have to worry about the stuff like that. Okay. So we're not going to worry about reverse proxies yet, though, because like really all we're doing, like really what I want to do is I want a unified interface. You put in a URL and the accept headers, and you get out a representation, which means it's going to do the content negotiation, should there be it. And which also means that we need to think about content negotiation coming in from the outside. Okay. Implement generated representation as sources. So we want, fuck, that's annoying. We want, oops, sources should be able to be anything. I told this in it. Yeah. Implement generated. So this actually should tab. Damn it. Fuck, that's annoying. No. Jesus Christ, that's annoying. Okay. What a mess. Yeah, so implement generated representations as their sources. So we got a few of those. Damn it. Okay. So we have concept. We have we have like book lists. We have Rolodexes. We have RSS feeds. We have Google sitemaps. Although that should probably be its own schmozzle. By RSS, I actually mean Atom. I don't actually use RSS. RSS proper, RSS2 rather, is a clown show. So we're going to implement the target. Yeah, we said that already. Okay. So as much. We should make as much. The rack app. Okay. Make any operation can be a pure function. And so this is sort of like, we want this because it's composable. Okay, so I'm almost ready to start thinking about moving this into the thing. We want a command line. Oh, you can't do that. Arbitrary graph. I'm going to say that a graph patch is a very specific sort of thing concept that I made up. You've got this at the center, you have the subject, and then you have all of the things that it connects to, plus all of the things that just like the labels or the immediate neighbors of the thing coming in the immediate coming out, and then you have everything pointing at it and then all their labels. And the types and stuff like that. Labels and types. Assertions. And so the idea is that like a graph patch will, it'll just have it'll be like a Lego block. Okay. Command line shell. We want to be able to run this as a command line shell. Pour myself a little glass of wine. Okay. I just saw a very tiny bug fly by. It's weird. So we have transformations. I think I have it. Yeah. Oh, these have to be changed. I think I was like kind of confused about this. How big is this? 1,100 lines. Interesting. I made this in a very furious pace. That's all right. Some of the, actually most. Sequence of stock transforms. So like, let's say you've got something that emits a page, and this is the thing that I'm sort of thinking is that like on one hand I've got stuff that'll turn like Markdown into HTML. I've got stuff that will, generate RDFA. I've got stuff that will do all sorts of bits and bobs. Oh man. And these are all sort of like, these are all operations that like they could just be transforms and then they could be exposed to the outside, and then you can have like, but then I have like a method for representing, doing what doing these like represent, well that's what this is. and you know, I have like partial applications and so on. So you can define a scalar. And see, the idea is that the transforms will, like, you can basically represent it. You can memoize it. You can cache it. You use this in conjunction with a content addressable store. So you execute it once, and if you execute it again, it short circuits. It goes to the store. So it's actually it's pretty powerful. So anyway, we'll start in a second. But where are we here? Man, I think I might actually. I'm like freaking ravenously hungry at the moment. I just got hungry, very hungry all of a sudden. I might pause this for like 15 minutes, raid the fridge, and come back. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that while I think about what I want to do next. What I'm gonna do next, though, is I'm gonna start populating. I'm gonna start taking these bullets. I'm gonna put them into this thing. And that's going to be very cool. So, yeah, 15-minute break. Let's do it.